Hello, everybody. How are you? Well, I'm laying in bed, so I have my phone set on YouTube. So if I see you on here, I certainly will answer you, but I might be a little late in answering you because I don't know how further I'm ahead on here. That's a lot of information that didn't make sense, right? If I see you, I'll say hi. um, I will tell you this much. I look at near death experiences, and they can be really scary. And since the time I was about 7 or 8, got myself into jackpot after jackpot. And look, I was a wild kid. I remember this wasn't near death, but it could have been. I was back in Brooklyn where I lived on West 8th Street. Ron, how are you, man? Wow, I haven't spoken to you in a long time. I hope you're doing well. I called you. I left a message a while back or texted you. I hope everything's good. We got to catch up. I was West 8th Street where I lived in Bensonhurst. They had the private houses where you open the gate, and on the right side of the main staircase to go into the house, the steps, you had these trap metal doors that went into your basement. You walked a bunch of steps down, and people had um, you know, total living quarters down there in the basement. They had a bathroom and a table and a kitchen, a TV and a couch, and they only had holidays upstairs in their main residence, but they used that for everything downstairs. Really, Ronnie? Yeah, it could be crazy. And I remember I was playing tag with someone, and I ran around the fence, and the latch went through the side right where my kidney was, and I didn't even feel pain. But I knew something had happened, and my father was sitting on the stoop across the street from my house, which is about 100 feet down. So I was going toward my house, and I screamed through the window, "Mama, do you have a band aid?" And I probably, she's fed up with me because I'm every 5 minutes or something. And what happened was, I I'm laying in bed. I'm not near the computer, Ronnie. So what happened was, she lost her patience with me. So I go across the street, and my father's sitting with a bunch of people. And I said, "Dad, I hurt myself." And I lift up my shirt, and I hear one of the old ladies, "Oh my God." And I started crying because I got scared. There was a punctured hole in my side. Well, my father grabbed my mother, and they rushed me to Lutheran Hospital, I remember. And they had to probe, make sure that nothing was punctured. And I was stitched up, and I was out of school for like 2 weeks. I remember, but that wasn't a near death experience. But now, fast forward, I'm upstate with my girlfriend. I was like 17, 18, with her family. Her family owned this old age home called Cisbros for sisters and brothers. And we'd stay there. There were like 30 rooms, and the old timers were there, probably younger than I am now. And we went to the lake, and they used to, like the 10 or 12 by 12-foot square wood dock out in the lake. Well, I swim out to it, and she wasn't in the water, and I dive and do a tumble salt off it. But the problem is, when I go to get up, the bottom of the dock hits me in the head. I'm stuck under the thing. Luckily, I didn't panic, although I had opened my mouth, so I took some water in already. I swam like 12 to 14 feet. I picked the side and went 12 to 14 feet because I knew it wasn't that big. And I got up. But can you imagine if this idiot drowns off a friggin' deck. Like they, they didn't think much of me as it was. Can you imagine that? And then fast forward a year, and my friend Paul is, hey, G, my friend Paul, we go double dating. I'm on a first date with this girl, Gianna. And I met her, I was a counselor up at Brooklyn Day Camp in whatever it was, Far Rockaway, Broad Channel. And I met her there and knew her all of like 5 weeks. This was July. And we go on a date. And my friend Paul, good friend of mine, I know him since I was like 9 or 10. He takes his girl. We go to King's Plaza. We go to the movies. We're going to go to a diner. And he's following me, and at a light. I'm at a light. And he walks out and comes to the car. I thought she was in the car. He said she broke up with me. I said, what? He goes, yes, she broke up with me. She called the car service. I thought he was following me with her in it. I was going to get money. So, and I lived on Bay 20th. So down 19th Avenue, I'm going probably 40, which is too fast. But someone is on the other side approaching me, and they make a quick left. And to avoid them, I hit the pole that holds the L train, the L. And I got really hurt. Now, everything, you hear a smash of glass, and then everything is dead silent, like you would swear you're dead. But I knew I wasn't. But I did go through part of the windshield, and no seatbelts back then, and I knew where. And I was really banged up. So she broke her leg because her knee smashed against the glove box. So we're taken by ambulance to the hospital. The thing is, my mother and sisters, they're right around the corner. It was around the corner from my house because I was going to grab 20 from my mother. I was out of money. They hear the crash, and everybody walks out to see what happened. And my mother sees it's me. Now, my father was in the VA hospital at the time. He had a slight stroke. So we go to the hospital, and the guy shows up, the father and mother, the first date, right? I almost killed their daughter. But I did kind of try to brace her. And at least that's what I remember, trying to, like, when your mother would put her hand in front of you when you stopped short or something. And they told the father that he tried to get in front of your daughter. That's why he went through the windshield. So that bought me some time with her, at least. But it was scary. And when my mother went with a friend of the family, my friend Jeff, because it was stuff in the trunk, the car was at the collision place, the south, wherever they towed it, they looked and they thought that the guy was killed in that car. I was very lucky. What happened was, my mother tells my father that I had an accident and everything, but I had like 70 stitches in the forehead. My cheekbone was broken. I was banged up pretty bad, whiplash. And after 3 or 4 days, he said, well, I'm signing myself out. I don't believe you. I think he died. And I went up there. Interesting thing, the girl from the lake, which we had broken up by this point, because that's why I was with this girl, Jana, broken up for about 9 months. I had always spoken to her sister and brother-in-law, who were married. They were about 5 years older, about 6 years older. Diane was the lady's name, a wonderful woman. And she told Maria, and I get a call. Hi, Vin. Now, I've been wanting to go back with her for months. And I heard you had an accident. Are you okay? And she said, I want to come see you. I said, I really don't want you to see me because I was all banged up. But she came. Her father brought her a few days later. And we ended up getting back together after that. but it was crazy because I was culpable for most of these things. I really was. Yeah, absolutely, Ron. It's like everything shatters and everything is quiet and crazy and unbelievable. 80 miles per hour. Oh my God, Ron. That's terrible. But you get in these jackpots and they're not always your fault. And look, how many people have been killed by a drunk driver and they were innocent. And it seems like the drunk driver always survives. I remember in Bath Beach when I worked at that luncheonette, there was a girl, Michi, and she was stoned out. I don't know what she was stoned out on. She was walking across the Belt Parkway and got hit by a car and survived. She wasn't the same. I remember for months she was convalescing and she limped after that and she slurred her words a little. She remembered who I was. We were never close, but she used to come into the luncheonette where I worked. So, of course, she knew me. But she survived. And they said if she wasn't stoned out, um, you know, when you're drunk or stoned, you don't freeze like a deer. Your muscles are all untensed. You have a better chance of surviving. Believe it or not, when you tense up, that's when things break. So it's incredible. It really is scary. I can't believe that, the Ronnie. That's unbelievable. Human life, Dana, is it, it's so fleeting, and it's scary. It's scary because you really, truly never know. Like, who knows they're going to have a car out? They wouldn't leave the house. You don't know any moment whether you fall flat on your face. I told you, I passed out the other day. I was heading into the bathroom. I've been getting lightheaded for like a month. I passed out and I'm on my back and my son's over me. Dad, Dad, Dad. Thank God I passed out because if I would have tried to break the fall with my shoulder that I had operated on, I would have been in trouble. But you don't think of it. You would have tried to break the fall, right? I was totally out. I just went back and my tailbone is killing me. I bruised it bad, but the shoulder didn't hurt. So I guess I just went flat down on it, more my ass. I feel it. But, right? Can you imagine? Like if I would have cracked my head and died, what would they have thought? Right? They would have thought, oh, he had an aneurysm and he just went down. They would have known that they wouldn't have known I just got dizzy and fell back and right. But my son just had been coming out of the room when he heard the crash and he saw the second part of the crash where like I'm halfway down, but I hit and he ran to grab my head. So he probably did. My head's bruised in the back, so he probably didn't get me quick enough. But it's scary. Oh my God, Ronnie, really? Danae, since the surgery, no, a little before the surgery, I had been lightheaded. When I get up off the couch, I'd feel a little lightheaded, but it would pass in 10 or 15 seconds. This time I felt the same kind of feeling, but this time I passed out. And they think they know what it is. I'll get it taken care of. But yeah, life is so fragile and it's so terrible. Think of how many people who have a massive heart attack get up saying, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go get something to eat," and it's done. Uh, I'll tell you, I had a friend at a bar over here, a bar restaurant. Charlie was his name. He was a bartender in his mid 50s. This was about 8 years ago, 9 years ago, and we always go to dinner, steakhouses and stuff. He's really more friends with my friend Ed. So I happened to be there, and he says, "So when are we going to dinner? We got to plan it. Get a hold of Ed because Ed wasn't there that night." I said, "Yeah, yeah, we'll go. I'll call you tomorrow." I get a call from Eddie at 7 in the morning. Charlie died. I said, "What are you talking about? I was just with him like 6 hours ago, 5 hours ago." No, evidently Charlie was with the owner, and they're closing up at 4:30 in the morning. Charlie goes out with the locks to pull down the gates, and he doesn't come out back in. And the owner, Jimmy, where the hell is he? Comes out and he's on the floor. EMS, he was still alive when EMS got there, but he didn't make it. And it was very, very, hey, Maria, it was very, very scary. Denise, they think they know what it is. Danae, they think they know what it is. I'll tell you. I'll email me, and I'll give you my number. Yeah, it's I'll tell you when I talk to you. But they kind of found out what it was. So life is so precious, and we think we have all the answers. Oh my God, Ronnie, really? That's terrible. That's really terrible. Yeah, I had my labrum fixed. They tacked it down with surgical nails. It was like 6 weeks before I could go to therapy. Yeah, I used to joke around with Mitch because Mitch is a pretty slow driver. I said, "You were in the left lane, you had to be going at least 30." Yeah, that was scary. Someone called me from Mitch's phone and said he's had an accident. Tried to tell me where he was. I finally found him on the Grand Central Parkway. And when I saw his car, I thought he was gone. I thought the guy just wasn't telling me. I walked across that highway in tears. The ambulance door was open. The car was mangled. It was a Civic. And then when I get past the open door, I see him sitting there. Oh, it was shredded, huh? Oh, Lord. Hey, October. I flew 20 feet into grassy middle strip. I had plates and screws put me. Oh, my God. Really, Rock? That's terrible. I feel like going to Home Depot, finding one that's open, getting rope and hanging myself. This is like a bad Oprah special, this freaking thing. We're talking about death. Aren't you glad you came on? So I tell you, though, it's scary. Life is scary because just when you think you have it figured out, it says, "Oh, yeah." Really scary. And, people die around you all the time. You hear these stories all the time. And you wonder for a fleeting second, could it be me? It's kind of like when someone around you, I don't know, you find out they have colon cancer. You run and make an appointment to get a colonoscopy because you always said, it can't be me. When it's someone close to you, it's like, oh shit, they were like 2 feet away from me. And that's what happens. Oh yeah, I survived things in the street also that were Ronnie knows. Yeah, I could have bought it a couple of different times, but you do what you can. Life is fragile, Danae, and you know what the thing is about life? There are points where it isn't fragile, so we let our guards down, and then we walk into a fragile time again, but we let our guards down because we've become so complacent. And that's what happens. You almost, what is the biggest take here? To appreciate life because you're not guaranteed another moment. Truly. People that are walking down the street and have a heart attack 2 seconds later, they were fine. But before, they were fine. So I really try to appreciate my friends. I try to appreciate my family. I'm human, but I try to catch myself when I'm too human and too self-centered and worried about myself. And I say, yeah, Maria, I say to myself, oh, catch yourself in. Don't get so fucking cocky. And I don't. But I stray out sometimes where I have to pull myself in a little. Absolutely. When things are going too good, that's when you're assured that they're not going to continue to be great forever. Hey, Frank, how are you feeling, man? My friend Frank from Las Vegas. Frank's medical sheet is 2 pages less than the Bible. Really, Ronnie? Oh, my God. I just got your text. I'm going to give you a call tomorrow, Ron. We got to catch up. I haven't spoken to you. Hope you're okay. So it's crazy. It really is. I just saw it, Ron. Yeah, Frank. Yeah, Frank has a medical history, and I'll give you. Frank gets down sometimes when I talk to him, but Frank, I don't know many people that could have more successfully gone through what you've gone through medically. You have every right to get fucked up by it and say, I can't believe this. I'm waving in, I'm throwing in the towel, because I know you never would, because you're too tough for that. But we do get to the point where, like, when's the joke up? When do you stop torturing me? And it's scary, because we all just try to survive. None of us are looking for millions and we just want to have a little slice of the pie, not have to worry that we can't go to dinner tonight, because if we go to dinner tonight, we have to eat macaroni and cheese for 8 days. Oh my God, Ronnie, really? Oh, that is so terrible. I'm so sorry. No, it's scary. We go through this, and there's always someone. Ronnie, I use your saying all the time. Our worst day is someone's best. I always remember you told me that very early on when I was having trouble on YouTube. I always remember that, Ronnie. You have a lot of words of wisdom. You truly do. Because you've been through a lot. With experience comes experience. And that's what happens. But, we all try to just hang in there and take it one day at a time. What else are we going to do? It gets, like I tell Frank has grandchildren, and I know Frank feels like kicking the bucket sometimes just because he's disgusted, but that's not the answer, Frank. That what you give your grandchildren, probably being incapacitated as you are at times, is much more than someone that could look like Jack LaLanne could. You have to just look at it that way. Just you being here is their gift. They need their grandpa. Believe me, they're not worrying that you can't do your leg sweep anymore or any of that. And I know it's hard for a very active guy, Frank, which you were. I know you were, to succumb to the realization that all those days are over. This is a new normal. When you wake up the next day, it's a new normal. It's not the normal you want. And, it's very easy for people to say, well, just deal with it. Yeah, it's easy to say when you're running up and down steps telling me to deal with it, because I can't. I understand totally. But, all we need to do is remember that, like Ronnie said, your worst day, and yours get pretty bad. We've spoken. Someone's best day isn't as good as your worst day. And I know, those cliches are annoying, because people just say that to make themselves feel good. It's like, oh, money's the root of all evil. Yeah, the people that say that don't have anything. They don't have any money. That's why I say it. Believe me, they wouldn't give a shit about evil if they were sitting on 5 million. People are full of shit in general. We're people. We try to soft soap everything and try to feel better, and we'll do whatever we can to feel better. I have a friend that used to say there are misfortunate people on this earth to show the fortunate ones they're fortunate. How would you ever know you're fortunate if you never saw someone that was unfortunate? And I get it, but there comes a time when you can't just be a walking Hallmark card, or you can't be an analogy whiz. You have to just say, hey, this is the way it is, right or wrong, good or bad. This is my life, and I'll have to deal with what God gave me, and you do, Frank. And I give you a lot of props for that. I know you don't need my props, but I do. I respect you because you really, it's a fight every day, and you just don't give up. Nor should you. You have too much to offer. But anyway, I'm glad you guys came in. Ronnie, I'm so glad to talk to you. I'll call you tomorrow. Uh, I'm going to go to sleep because I have to teach tomorrow, and I have the lesson plan because I didn't do it, so I got to be up in the morning early. But I will talk to you guys soon. God bless you. Thank you for being my friends. And I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a good one.